so thankful. Thank you so much, my daughter from another mother, Pearl, for inviting me. So honored to be here. Thank you. And it's so wonderful what she's doing with these young ladies, to have them model and to do all the designs and just worldwide things, not just modeling. Way different from when I grew up. I did grow up in the mid-40s and 50s. And my father was very influential with me. Anyone here know about the Cab Calloway band? Anybody over 40? I don't see too many people here. Don't look like it anyway. And my father, Charles Frazier, was the lead tenor sax man for Cab Calloway's band from the 40s to the 60s. And so my musical experience and training and knowledge was very extensive. But of course, I loved to dance. Loved to dance. My aunt said I came out dancing. And unfortunately my mother, who was an interior decorator, and my daughter also had that talent now too, was passed on when I was born. So my father was my mother and father until 96 years old, and so I give him the praise of what. If we had time in another hour or so, I would have a film, because he is in the film, of some of you, again, that's over 40, knows the film Heidi Heidi Ho with Cab Calloway. And he is in there. You see him, the third from our left, right in the front, playing with Cab. And my experience, and you're talking about 1956. No, before that. I was 6 years old. And my father would come and he would take me to class, take me to ballet class. And at that time, I was, of course, the only black person in the class. And at Brooklyn Academy of Music, if anyone knows that in Brooklyn. Anybody here from New York, Brooklyn? Best side, the best part of Brooklyn? It might be now, but it wasn't then when I grew. But, and so we used to go, and I took ballet there, and music, voice, and also piano. And I remember my father was telling me, he said, when I first went to piano class, you sit down to the piano, and the pianist, he would play something, and you have to sit next to him. Now I was about probably 5, maybe 6, around the same time that I was taking the ballet class. And so I sat down, and the pianist plays something, and you're supposed to play something after her to see what your tone is and how she can, if you're a good student. So I'm sitting down, and so she's playing something. So all of a sudden I get up and I start dancing. And my father said, because at that time it was crinolines, and the skirt, and he said the skirt was just flying around. Everything that she played, I just danced to. And every tempo, I just danced to that tempo, right? And and my father said, oh, she's not going to take my daughter, but she did. And I don't play the piano like a young person here that did, but I do play by ear. And that was my kind of a downfall, because when I hear something, I can play it. And I would listen to her play, and then instead of really reading the music, I would play it, and she knew that. But it's about going, training, and doing all that you can do. And yes, I love to dance, but I continued in my voice and in my piano. And then, I decided I think I would like to take the audition for the New York High School of Performing Arts. I was going to junior high school in New York, and I said, I'd like to take that audition for that. Now, at that time, I was doing toe work. If you know what, do you young people know what toe work is? Toe work means when you put on those toe shoes and you have to stand on your toe. Now, this was way before they had shoes for us. That's why I got bunions now. And we had those toe shoes where there was like heavy blocks in the front of it, not plastic, pretty much like they have now, or plastic glass. And I had to put my feet in smaller shoes. Again, I was the only one, but I loved to dance, and I wanted to go into ballet to do toe work, like we all know who Misty Copeland is, right? I said I'm going to take it for the ballet department. And I also wanted to take the audition for High School of Music and Art for boys. And I loved to do projects and make things and all for science, right? So I applied for the Bronx High School of Science. Well, I got the Bronx High School of Science, but I hadn't taken the audition for High School Performing Arts yet. When I took the audition, again, I was the only African American there. I was, 13 or 14 at that time. And after I finished my audition, some of the teachers came to me and said, would you like to come for the modern department? Now I'm not saying, but I'm thinking, not really, I want to go into the ballet department. But they said, well, if you can come back for the modern audition next week, and we'd like to see you for that. I said, oh, okay, yeah, sure. I didn't want to go in the modern department to be ballerina. So, even though it hurt when I stood on my toes, I still wanted to be ballerina. And so I came back and I tried to get a dance number that I didn't do before, like they would remember what I did before. But I'm thinking as a young person that I've got to do something different. Now I only had a few days, or maybe over the weekend, then to come for the audition. So I, of course, took off my toe shoes and I did a dance that most of the dance I made up on the floor, but I knew the music. Back to my father, he had all records. Remember those? Just records, the big ones, and you put the thing on the record player. And I used to listen to all the records that he had, jazz and shows and show tunes, and he played with all the big, the big singers, Billie Holiday, and all those kind of singers, Sarah Vaughan and Lita Horne. Y'all know those names? Oh, yeah. I know y'all do. Do you know those names back there? Some of them, yeah, look them up. Yes, very, a wonderful, wonderful black artist. And so I did my dance number, and then I was accepted. I was accepted into the High School of Performing Arts. At that time, there were no blacks in the modern department, in the ballet department at all. None, male or female. And of course, I didn't really realize what the situation was. And this is in New York. This is, 61 in New York, and still they had that, There was one gentleman in the modern department, black gentleman, his name is John Parks, and he was the only African American in that school. And when I saw him dance, I said, I want to dance with him. And I didn't realize I was going to marry him too later on, but he became, you have seen the Alvin Ailey Company. He was one of the soloists in Ailey Company from the 70s, 80s, and the early 90s. And we toured, of course, a lot together in different companies. And but I said to myself, I was going to really excel. I was going to excel, even though I didn't want to be in the modern department. We didn't have ballet classes, and we had jazz, and we had different guests come to see us. to teach us classes. And so we were learning all different kinds of techniques. And we had dance education, which I think is so important for whatever you do. That you educate whatever your craft is, whatever it's business or in profession, in professional, performing, anything. Excel and explore, educate yourself in all of areas of that. And I see that you already are starting to do that, which is wonderful. As I was going to the High School of Performing Arts, I was trained in, if some of you may know, the Martha Graham technique. It's a dance technique that Graham, which is a Caucasian lady, she's a choreographer that started her dance technique back in the 30s. Anyway, I had that technique, which was my major, but a few days a week, I would go up to the Katherine Dunham School. You know of Katherine Dunham here? Katherine Dunham was the first black female choreographer back in the 30s. She started her company in 30, 34, 35, and she toured mostly Europe and Far East and Caribbean countries. She started by going to Africa, and in ballet, her anthropology thesis was ballet, but she toured all through the Caribbean and Africa and settled in Haiti and became a mambo there and lived with the people of Haiti and created the Katherine Dunham technique. She had her school on 42nd and 9th Avenue. So after school, a few days after school, I would go up to the Dunham School. Just walk up from 42nd to 46th to 42nd and 9th. And she taught ballet. And in fact, if anyone would know Carmen de Lavalade, who was Geoffrey Holder's wife for many years, and of course I was in his company too, but I would go up there and take all the classes. She taught karate, she taught drums, and of course ballet, so I took all the classes. I took whatever I could take. And because I was young, I could take as many classes as I wanted for, I didn't even know if I had to pay or anything. But back when I was about 10, 11 years old in Harlem, I started dancing with a company called Olatunji Babatunde, if anybody knows that name, from way back. He's very, very well known in the African dance world too. So I had that African technique in me already. So when I was training with Ms. Dunham, which is a Haitian-based Haitian technique, I was able to grasp that really quickly and loved it. I loved it. Strong, talking about strong. The bar itself can be an hour. And I have my assistant I just want to introduce. He's also a choreographer and a worker, and he's a good dancer, and he's assisted me when I teach, because I teach all over the country of the Katherine Dunham technique, and he does the jumps. I don't jump anymore. And turns and twists and falls and all that, Yes, I sit down and say, this is what we do. But so I got that training, and I was 14 when I started training with her. And so Ms. Dunham, we call her Miss D. She's gone now, but Miss D asked me if I'd like to perform with the company at the Apollo Theater. You know the Apollo Theater in New York? And yeah, of course. They asked me, yes, of course, I'd love to. So, because I was still in school, I was only able to do 2 numbers. Shango, which is a big Haitian piece, and a Cuban number, a fast Cuban piece. And we performed, I performed with the company. I was the youngest person in the company at that time. I was 15. And at the Apollo, and I'm going to name some names you may know. Some of you, again, almost 40 names. Moms Mabley, Moms Mabley, Moms Mabley's comedian, Tito Puente's band, and the Dunham Company. That was on the bill we were there, I think, for almost 2 weeks. I could do basically only the Friday through Sunday matinees. But what an experience to see all these great, great artists. I didn't even realize how much experience, but I would go downstairs every between hour before we came on and watch the show. Honey Coles, who was one of the copacetics, he was the MC, and he would also dance, tap dance, and just the education of seeing all these great people perform, you know, was a thrill for me. And so I'm graduating in '65, and some of you may know Ben Vereen. He was also in my class, and we were chosen to do a solo. You may not know these names, but Helen Tamaris, who was the original dancer with Martha Graham's company, she gave us her solos, Negro Spirituals, and I did the solo of oh dear, my notes, but Swing Low, Sweet Chariot was my solo, and I was so thrilled to be able to do that for my senior year. Didn't realize how thrilled I was to later on when I knew such greats were my teachers. But my training was so vast. So I took the chance to just try everything I could try, do everything I could do for that time, you know, that I had. After I graduated, Miss Dunham had to ask my father, because I wasn't 18 yet, could I come to Paris with the company, because when we did the performance in '64, that was the last time the company performed in the United States. So she closed her school and went to Paris and did a production, and my father said, yes, I could go. And I turned 18 in Paris. It was '66, I think it was. And I performed with the company, and then when our performance was over for that year, I joined another company called the Prodigal Son, which was performing in New York, and had Vinette Carroll, who, does anyone remember Your Arms Too Short to Box with God? Do you remember that play that was in California? Well, she choreographed, she directed that, and she was my drama teacher in PA. I have had the best teachers, and I am so honored to have done that. The reason why I landed this role as Thumper in Diamonds Are Forever is because of Miss Dunham. It's because I went to the Dunham School and took all of the classes. And because I took that karate class, because that's what they wanted. When my agent called me and said they want, you know, he knew I danced, but he didn't really know that I knew karate, and that's what was called for this role. I said, yes, of course. Now, he told me that, you know, I was going to do, this would be a movie with Sean Connery, who I had no idea who was. I didn't even know Sean Connery. I came from the dance world, theater world in New York. Movies just wasn't, you know. So, but when he was telling me, he said, yeah, and that you'll make like 1,000 a week. Wow! Well, I didn't do that on the phone, but, and I said, oh, great. That made me excited. Not Sean Connery, actually. Sir Sean now. What a wonderful, he was great to work with too, by the way. Wonderful, very, very, very respectable. And so when I came back from Europe with Dunham, and then with the Prodigal Son, I toured with them for a couple of months. I joined the Avenelli Company, only for a little while, because I wanted to go to Tally Beatty's company. Now, Tally Beatty was one of the original dancers with the Dunham Company, and he was one of my teachers back when I was 14. You know. So I knew him, and so I joined his company, and Geoffrey Holder, who some of you may know from on Coleman, or And he also choreographed The Wiz, Jeffrey Hall. And yeah, and so I worked, we were doing special New York City Center concert, modern dance concert. So I worked mainly with Callie Beatty's company as a principal dancer, and also with Joffrey's company. And then from there I went on to do, work with many, many others. I have worked with at least 16 choreographers in my lifetime. And as Pearl has mentioned, I have an educational program which I speak on all of these choreographers, and I have film on them to educate young black students in theater and in dance about these choreographers, especially the black choreographers. There's one choreographer I speak of that's white, Anna Sokolow. She was the first choreographer who had more than one black person in her company in New York. And she was also the original choreographer for Hair, the production Hair. And I was in her company, and in fact, John Parks and I were in her company when she was choreographing Hair. And she asked us if we'd like to do it. But if some of you know, that was the first time they did nude on Broadway. And I said, nah. What they did was like a silhouette, so you really didn't, see the full body. But that was the first for that. And beautiful, wonderful strong choreographers, and they taught you everything about what you were doing. You must know from inside out what you are doing. You must think about whether it be a solo or a piece, a solo piece or an ensemble piece. It's what this piece is about. Before I had one acting class, and that was after pretty much right when I was doing filming Diamonds when I was in Los Angeles. I knew about acting because I started out as a dancer. I started out with some wonderful teachers that said, whatever you're doing, you have to know what's going on with this character from inside out. You're not speaking it, but you're showing it through what you're doing. And you're performing it so everyone else there will know what this is without saying one word. And of course, since then, I've been able to teach, many times, teach actors, dance and actors' movement. And when my husband and I, he was actually the first, one of the first top black models in the 60s back in New York. And when I was he introduced me to some people that he was modeling with, and they liked what I was doing because I put something extra to the modeling, in the runway. It's not just, it was really straight then, back in the 70s. But you tip and you use, you just don't. Yeah, you got to use your whole body and show. Dance to the music, as the thing goes. Use the music in your body. Be glad that God gave you this body. I am so thankful that I am alive. My mother passed, but I am alive. And God and my mom and my father gave me this talent, this body, this vessel. And I am not going to do anything to, deface it or anything. I've not ever been in drugs. I'm not a drinker. Anytime we used to go out when I was in my 20s, 30s, I was always a designated driver because all my friends, they drunk a little bit. So, and but working with all these wonderful people, you learn that from my early training. I worked with Claude Thompson, who was choreographer for, and he also was original Al Neely dancer before I joined, and he choreographed for Sammy Davis Jr. So I did 3 shows in